Well, thank you for joining us today for another Wednesday webinar. Today is November 8th, and this is Glenda Robichaux, and with me today I have Julie Gromitz and our guest speaker, Aleeah Sheehan, and we are going to have some fun and learn some great stuff. And Aleeah is going to share with us Embracing Your Inner Moon, and I'm so excited to hear what she's got to present for us today. And first, we're just going to take a look at our agenda. We've got a few other things to check in with. Of course, we want to hit on our wonderful November promotions. And then the great news is Copaiba is back. It was on back order for a little bit there. And then we'll turn it over to Aleeah, and then we will close with our upcoming events. So November promotions. If you take part in the Loyalty Rewards program, the free product of the month is Clove. Oh, and this is just a really great one for, we use it in our house a lot for any type of tooth or oral discomfort. It's a great one for the immune system as well. So you get that free if you do your LRP before the 15th of the month, and it's 125 PV or more. And then also, some of these enrollment kits are 20% off this month, which is amazing. So we've got the Emotional Aromatherapy Diffuser Kit, the Cleanse and Restore Kit, Home Essentials Kit, Natural Solutions, Every Oil Kit, and a Diamond Kit, 20% off. So anybody who is new to doTERRA and would like to join in all the fun this month can get one of those kits at 20% off. And that's just, they're already an amazing deal because they already have a discount kind of rolled into them along with the membership fee, and now they've got 20% off that. So certainly if you know anybody who's interested, this is the month for them to get started. And then our product that's 10% off this month is Siberian Fir, and this is one of the new oils that came out in September. I absolutely love Siberian Fir. We diffuse it every night in our bedroom. It's beautiful. It's great for this time of year. It's great for respiratory issues. It's also one of the only conifer oils that can be taken internally. I believe Julie uses it sometimes for massage.
Yep, I love to mix Siberian Fir and Copaiba together for both massage and for sleep. I throw them both in a diffuser too, so they're really a beautiful combination.
Mm-hmm. So throw one in your shopping cart this month and get 10% off. And then Copaiba is back. And this is, so here's the story. doTERRA, when they, got this oil, and it comes from Brazil, from the Amazon, they got enough that they thought would last us for the whole year. We apparently, as a company, went through that in, less than 2 months, which is incredible. The oil is amazing. I mean, that kind of speaks to the awesomeness that it is. So what the deal is that you can get one per account per month, at least probably until around January. The harvesting season for Copaiba is in January, so hopefully by then we will have more, and hopefully that limitation will be removed then. But in the meantime, it's just limit one per account per month.
I think part of that might be once we get into January, perhaps all of those that are wanting this so desperately will have it.
That too.
12 bottles at a time for the need to have it. No, it's a really beautiful, amazing oil. I apologize. I've lost my, whoa, what am I doing? There we go. Sorry.
Going back in time.
It's one of my new dailies. So it's a beautiful, beautiful oil, and it didn't take me very long to go through a bottle. So I can definitely see why the limit is being put on that.
Mm-hmm.
So we have this beautiful holiday gift giving guide. It's still available, but if you have any experience with our holiday promotional items, they come and then they go fairly quickly because there's some awesome stuff in there, and it's all limited time. So a couple of the items are sold out already. The Touch Clutch is sold out, and our mini soaps are sold out, but there are some really amazing things in here. I don't know about you. One of the most exciting things that I had found was that double drawer wooden box. The bamboo box actually holds all of our oils now, which is pretty phenomenal at a pretty good price. And the cute little whale diffuser, those were two of my top desires on that one, and I think that they're both still available. So if you have already ordered your holiday gift items and you're wondering why they haven't shown up yet, there was a little bit of an issue with getting them packaged up. So if it's a little bit later than typical, just have a little bit more patience. I assure you they are on their way.
November 1st was the highest sales day and the most orders received in doTERRA's history. So as we continue to grow, got a couple of growing pains here. So everybody ordered on the 1st. So of course it will take a little bit of extra time. And one more added plug for the holiday stuff. The holiday peace oils apparently been very popular, and I've heard that might be running out soon as well. So if you wanted that, make sure to order it soon.
All right, Miss Aleeah, we have a wonderful yogi with us here on our webinar today. Aleeah Sheehan has been really diving into the Ayurvedic medicine world and the holistic health world for, I would say, you've been exposed to kind of holistic health your entire life, right, Aleeah?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it started when I was a little girl. My mother's originally from Mexico, and in our household, we always had a tea or something alternative or complementary going on when we had earaches or we had, a tummy ache or we weren't feeling so well. So I think, my whole entire life, really. Which actually, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I'm excited to have you on and sharing with us how you found to really help some of our young women through the discomforts of their monthly cycle. So I am pleased to have you with us. Take it away, my dear.
Great. Well, thank you so much. This is anybody who knows me well knows that I'm extremely passionate about menstruation, right? It's our moon cycle, as we call it in the yoga world. And it's the reason why I'm so passionate about it is because I started menstruation at a very young age, at about 10, which when I first came in contact with yoga, it was actually when I was 9. I can see now from, this, in hindsight, what was really happening is I was going through a lot of changes, and I've always been very hormonal. If you talk to my sister, she'll tell you I've been very hormonal my entire life. So really it's been this journey of learning to naturally balance my hormones. And, yoga came into my life at age 9. My mom thought that would help me. I went from being an extrovert to an introvert to being very, very shy to being to actually having a lot of stage fright. It started showing up in school and in my sports. I didn't want people looking at me. All eyes on me freaked me out. And yoga did help me. And what I realized that even at that time, even though it was a physical practice, I was learning to calm my mind. I was learning to actually meditate. And so, fast forward, into my 20s, I started, teaching yoga back in 2006 in Minneapolis in the Twin City area. And I did that for 10 and a half years. And then I moved out to California, and I've taken a bit of a hiatus, and I'm starting to feel that itch to get teaching again, but my passion has remained. I'm still a student, and I continuously, I'm learning about Ayurveda. And another big component to my journey of balancing my hormones is Chinese medicine, traditional Chinese medicine. So, and essential oils, which that will come up here in a moment. So all of these modalities have allowed me to become empowered and to take control of my moon cycle. Right? I started menstruation, like I said, at age 10. I suffered for many years with sporadic periods, erratic behavior, diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, terrible discomfort. I mean, I remember I would stay home from school. I was about 12, and I would just literally lie in the bathtub just with hot water, the shower just spraying down on me. It was the only way that I felt some comfort and ease. When I was 16, my mom, she took me to Western Doc and they put me on the pill. And I became an even bigger pill. And it was quite scary. My mom was like, we are taking you off of this. This is not okay. And what I did was, in order to deal at the time, what I could do was over-the-counter meds. So I was looking at Midol and Pamprin. Midol has caffeine, Pamprin does not. So into my 20s and 30, up to 30, Pamprin was always by my side. My sister, who's my acupuncturist, would tell me, Aleeah, you just gotta do what you gotta do, to get through. And that's all I knew at the time. So I would do Pamprin for the first 2 days of my menstrual cycle, which was probably about the toughest. And then around 18, I wanted to talk a little bit about my journey into acupuncture. So I was 18 when my sister, who is a first-year student of acupuncture school, advised me to visit a traditional Chinese doc. Right there on Nicollet Avenue, actually. It was actually in a market, an Asian market. He did not speak English, and his granddaughter was his interpreter. It was a very, very neat experience. I'll never forget it. He listened to my symptoms, my complaints, basically, which at the time, before every moon cycle, I would have cold-like symptoms. I literally would have like a cold every month. And it was just baffling to me. It was just like, what is going on? And he checked my pulse, he checked my tongue, and then he prescribed raw herbs for 3 days. So I went home, I decocted the herbs, and I observed as the herbs went to work. I literally felt and observed the disharmony that was happening in my body beforehand leave my body. I experienced the cold-like symptoms yet again moving through my body. So it started in my sinuses, then it went to my ear, my throat, down to my stomach, and then out the rear end, right, in the form of diarrhea. I mean, it was crazy to observe this. And after the 3 days of herbs, I never had cold-like symptoms again before my moon cycle. And that to me was like, right? It was just like this moment, right? Of like, it was an aha moment. Like I was onto something. And so it was at this time that I was convinced that there was another way to find help, that I just needed tools. I needed to keep seeking, right? Mm-hmm. So around 6 years ago, when I was 30, I was introduced to doTERRA's past tense. Some of you know it. It's a tension blend. It's quite lovely. My sister had given it to me. She was using it in her acupuncture, the doTERRA line in her acupuncture practice. And I had strained my trapezius muscle during a yoga class. And so I had this bottle of past tense. So at the time, my arsenal for my moon cycle was my Pamprin for the first 2 days. And then I had purchased a menstrual blend at the co-op. And it was I don't know what brand of essential oils, but it made me feel good that I was doing something natural alongside the Pamprin, right? And so I was out of Pamprin and I was out of my other blend. And I picked up the past tense bottle and I remember reading it and I said, oh, tension blend. I'm like, well, if it's a tension blend, and I thought to myself, well, what are cramps, right? But cramps are literally the tensing of the uterine wall to get things flowing downward and out. And I'm like, well, that's tension, right? That's some tension. I'm feeling the tension. So, right? So I took it and I literally put a smiley face down, kind of like where I envisioned my ovaries to be, and down and around like a big smiley face. And I rubbed it in. I just kind of rubbed my belly, and then I inhaled. I took my hands and I remember breathing in the past tense through my nose and just took some deep breaths. And within a minute or so or two, right, the discomfort dissipated. And once again, I was like, that's it. A new addition to my moon cycle toolkit. It was discovered, and there it was. And soon after that, right, that I learned about, I learned more about doTERRA. I was like, I'm sorry, what happens with these oils? Who are these oils? I want to know them. And I found Clary Calm, which some of you are familiar with it. It is the women's blend. And I believe is it called the Women's Monthly Blend? I believe that's what they call it.
Yeah.
The monthly blend. The women's blend is actually Whisper, but it is the Women's Monthly Blend. And I had found the answer to my premenstrual needs. You know, the time of the month when you start to grow fangs. Yep. This was a time, you know, I remember I was teaching yoga and I knew when my menstrual cycle was coming because I didn't want anybody to look at me. Mm. I remember literally walking in and in my mind, I would be like, stop looking at me, right? A little reminiscent of when I was like 9 and 10, right? So I wanted to be reclusive, right? But, you know, using the Clary Calm actually allowed me to find that calm, right? That solace even when I had to teach, right? So here's yet another tool. So, you know, around that time, I'm sure some of you, you know, can perhaps you have a similar thing where around this time where you start growing fangs, it's a time where like, I feel like I literally want to start destroying people, where like I become nitpicky, especially the people closest to me. And, you know, what I love about Clary Calm is that in it, you have Vitex, which is an herb which helps balance hormones. And you've got bergamot, and is it bergamot or bergamot? I don't know, but however you want to, tomato, you know, that whole thing, is a tranquilizer. It's literally a tranquilizer. So even though it's a citrus, it's very calming. And I feel the effects very quickly. So Clary Calm, amazing. And I wanted to kind of bring us to about like 6 months ago. I had another aha moment specifically with essential oils. I got myself, so it was literally about 6 months ago. So I have come to discover that the 2 biggest mood stabilizers, Melissa and frankincense, do wonders. I was just observing my moon cycle by using an app, period tracker, it's called Period Tracker app. And it's free. And I noticed that it was literally the week before my menstruation that I found myself the most out of balance. Okay. So my new addition was to do a thumb press of both Melissa and Frank. Now, when I talk about doing a thumb press, I don't even do a full drop. I literally take my thumb and press it over the, what do you call that valve? The
orifice reducer?
The orifice, that's it, the orifice reducer. And I literally tip the bottle over and that is it. So I literally just kind of take what's on the top there and I use that and I press it to the roof of my mouth. I close my eyes, I take deep breaths for a solid minute. So I'm not even using a full drop. Now remember with the thumb press, that's what makes the oil, what I think they say 80% bioavailable, right? And for me, this has been another amazing addition to my toolkit. So I am happy to report that my menstrual cycle is a welcomed old friend month after month, right? And I have to share, you know, around the time that I started implementing Mel and Frank, as I call them, I was chatting with a friend who is a couples therapist there in Minneapolis, in the Twin City area. And she shared with me that she had been at a convention, some continuing ed that she was doing on a weekend. And she was saying that they're saying that they're finding that women between the ages of 36 and 46 are found to be literally hysterical, right? The week before their period. And Western docs are now prescribing antidepressants for that week before their period.
Wow.
Right? So, and I thought to myself, wow. I mean, so I was on to something. So it was just like this confirmation, universe was sending me a confirmation, Aleeah, you're on to something. It's that week prior, and it may be different for each woman. That's why, as you'll see, one of my self-care tips is get yourself an app. I'm not like an app person, but for whatever reason, this app for me has really changed and helped empower me with my moon cycle. because it gives you a visual instead of guessing. And then all of a sudden you're like, why am I a mess on the floor? And all I want to do is eat chocolate, you know, and you're crying and everything's very emotional and you just want to like rip people to shreds. And then instead of doing that, you're like, oh, it's coming up preemptively. I'm preparing, right? I got to start switching things. Look at your calendar. So we're going to talk about that. So if you go to the slide, become a moon cycle boss, right? This is about you becoming a boss of your menstruation, right? So, you know, if you were to ask yourself, what would life look like if I had the tools to help literally me flow through my moon cycle with ease and in a more balanced way? How amazing would that be? What if I had the tools to manage both emotional and physical discomfort? And what if I actually looked forward to welcoming in my moon cycle with open arms? What if it actually became a very special time with myself, a beautiful process that I could experience? Right? So that's what we're going to go through. We're going to go through, if you go to the next slide, we've got, did you know, I find this fascinating, 85% of American women experience at least one symptom of PMS every month. Mm. So although this may be very common for us here, it's actually not normal. It's not normal. Right? And from an Ayurvedic perspective, and also from a traditional Chinese medicine standpoint, what you're looking at is that our moon cycle is intimately linked to our life-giving energy called prana, or in traditional Chinese medicine, qi. Right? The flow of energy. If you have a good flow of energy, things are going to flow well. If you're lacking energy or your body can't produce enough blood, right? These are things that these alternative medicines actually look at, right? These sciences, alternative sciences actually look at when talking about menstruation. You know, for example, I met a girl literally this last weekend. And she was, oh yeah, she told me, I'm going to acupuncture for the first time. I'm like, oh, amazing. I love acupuncture. I've been doing it since I was 18. You know, we got to chit-chatting and she's like, and I'm like, oh, you're going to love it. And she felt a little sheepish. I don't know if I had asked her, I can't recall if I asked her, what are you going for? Or she felt she was a little sheepish about sharing with me. I don't know how it came about, but we started talking and she said, well, it might be too much information, but I'm going because I don't get a period. And I'm like, good for you. Mm. Good for you for seeking and asking and searching. She's like, my doctor here, my Western doctor was like, well, you know, we'll put you on the pill and then we're going to give you a pill 4 times a year so you have a period. And I'm like, what? 4 times a year to have a period? But nature intended every month. Mm-hmm. Right? So that idea of overriding nature continuously, right? So what we find is actually doctors from India are shocked at the high prevalence of PMS. So in India, menstruation is revealed, it should be revered actually, as a sacred time for women. It is a time that you know, to honor that you need to go inward a little bit more, that you need to take more rest, that you need to eat good food, that you need to nourish yourself because your body is working so hard to produce enough blood in order to release it. Right? And it's also not just a time of like releasing, it's a time of cleansing your organs to release that blood that's full of nutrients, but also it's a cleansing, a time of cleansing, right? So I've got some tidbits about, you know, easing tension around the time of your moon cycle. So acupuncture, and as I've mentioned, for me, it's amazing. I've been very blessed to have, you know, a family member, my sister who's an acupuncturist, amazing. Here in San Francisco, I have a dear friend who is an acupuncturist, once again, very blessed. In your community, and lots of communities nowadays, you can find community acupuncture to reduce the cost, right, if that is a factor. Because private acupuncture does cost a little bit more, but also the attention is different that you'll get from your acupuncturist. They spend more time with you. It's much more in depth, much more intimate. I am a huge fan now of this app. It's called Period Tracking. It's phenomenal. This is a time for you to get to know where you are in your cycle and log how you feel and any symptoms that you may experience so that you can get to know, is there a tendency? Is there a pattern here? How do I need to address this? And know that things will shift over time. I'd say here, this is a time of contemplation, journaling, going inward, quiet time, right? And with that, learning to politely decline activities. Open up your space in your calendar. I'm not the best at this because I have FOMO, right? I have that fear of missing out. Yep, I did it the weekend before Halloween. I did it. First day of my menstrual cycle, did everything, all my stuff, all of my tools, but I did not want to go out. And what do you think I did? I went out, and I was not a happy camper. I just wanted to go to bed, right? So just, it's not perfect, right? It's not perfect. It's about practice and keep showing up and keep trying. Turn off technology, right? I know it's all too easy to start binging on Netflix or Facebook binging and all this stuff. Just shut it down. Listen to some lovely music, light a candle, get your diffuser going with some lovely essential oils, just quiet time, right? I want to talk about going all natural. Trying organic pads. Yes, I said pads, right? Everyone says it's like the maxi pad for sure. The idea is staying away from tampons. And if you do have to use a tampon, I highly recommend going organic, non-bleached, natural, feminine products because your body is absorbing those chemicals first and foremost. Tampons, they literally send the message to literally stop and plug up. Right? You're literally inserting a plug. I know that's a really weird way to say it, but it's like a plug in your body. You're just like stopping it and collecting, yes, but you're stopping it. So we want to literally support the menstrual flow to come down and out. And interesting enough that now that I've switched in the last couple of years, I've noticed my period has been shorter. It's just shorter and quicker. Mine used to be this drawn out 5-day thing. It is shorter. Maybe it's changing because I am getting older, but the other day, I recommended this to my cousin. My cousin said, without me even saying anything, she said, you know what? I think after using pads, my period's shorter. I'm like, yeah, I noticed the same thing. So interesting. I don't know. Try it out. See what happens. And getting more rest, right? Huge thing. That should have been another point, but that's okay. Getting more rest, that kind of thing. So going back to all natural, my faves are 7th generation free and clear overnight maxi pads. Now it's a very long maxi pad. You don't have any accidents with it. It's phenomenal for those heavy flow days and overnights. Amazing. And then we've got the ultra thin pads with wings as well. That's 7th generation. I think that Diva cups are great, but you have to be willing to get up close and personal with yourself, and not everybody is into that. Okay. But I do think that they are a great alternative. Let's see. I think this idea of getting more rest, I think, is probably the most challenging for some of us. And really, it's about giving yourself the permission to rest. And it's kind of like the Parisians. They know the art of doing nothing. It's very hard for us, I think, in America to not do anything. And just giving yourself permission. What is it to read a lovely book, and do nothing, or not even read a book? What is it to just to lie around? And that's okay. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean you're not productive. It means that you're honoring yourself and taking rest. Right? So practicing that. What is it to allow yourself to take a nap if you can? Right? So continuing on, what do we got? Some self-care tips and tricks. One thing that I've added is the week before my menstruation, I do an emotional cleansing essential oil bath. So a couple drops of doTERRA, geranium, lavender, and clary sage with 1 cup of Epsom salt, hot water. It's divine. It is just a lovely way to just cleanse your aura, cleanse the body of emotions, right? Anything that's accumulated, any frustration, agitation, anger, whatever, anything, disappointment, anything that's built up, allow yourself to just let it go. And clary sage, a little point. I know some people, clary sage might be a little sensitive for the skin. You could always create a bath oil first to dilute and then put in the bath. That may help for you. And if not, possibly not using clary sage at all, you could diffuse it. You could place it on the soles of your feet with a hot oil. That would be kind of nice at night. That would be lovely the week beforehand. Some deep belly breathing. This can be done a week before your cycle every night. Some deep breaths. You lie down on your bed, hand on your belly, and you begin to take long, deep breaths. And you're allowing your mind to literally observe your hands as they rise and fall with your breath. Right. And this is also a time, of light, gentle yoga meditation. I know oftentimes, like if you're literally having to pop a pill to take a spin class, perhaps it's a sign you shouldn't be going to class. You know what I'm saying? I've got friends that do this and I'm like, ladies, just ease up. It's okay. It's okay to gain a little bit of weight, afterwards. You're going to look fabulous, right? It's okay that we have these fluctuations in weight, right? And practicing accepting that. And sometimes it's okay not to go to spin class, right? And even from a yogic perspective, you want to make sure that, even in your yoga practice, for example, traditionally that you're not inverting, right? I see a lot of women even on their period, because once again, you're inverting the body. What are you saying to menstruation? You're saying, hey, moon cycle, don't go down and out. We want you to stay in, when actually we want things to move down and out. It's part of the cleansing process, down and out, right? So on to the next slide for tips and tricks continued. For the entire week before your moon cycle, I talked about this earlier, the thumb press of Melissa and Frank. And you may not need the entire week. Once again, you becoming the boss of your moon cycle is key. And having that handy dandy period tracker app is essential, right? So that you can mark it and you can look back. It's a great app because each day you can put notes in there. You can use emojis. It's a lot of fun, right? I say have Clary Calm with you at all times the week prior. When you start feeling that you're like on edge, you get a little fangy, or you want to, like I said, destroy everyone you come into contact with, and especially those closest to you. Roll on your wrist and then swipe behind your ear. That's a great way. And we talk about placing the essential oil behind the ear because, once again, you've got that vagus nerve goes straight to the brain, around the heart, right? So it goes right in there, affecting emotions. You could also do, rubbing in your hands and, breathing. So past tense, to ease the tension, passing through your uterus, literally, right? That little smiley face on your belly or that big smiley face is phenomenal. And then also Clary Calm, really quick, backing up to Clary Calm, it works wonders if you have any low stomach or low back discomfort as well. So it's a great way to put it on your back if you feel that tension kind of before your period, if anybody's experienced kind of some tension back there and you feel just a little achy. Clary Calm is lovely. Yeah, and also another thing I've noticed past tense, sometimes when I'm on my moon cycle, the smell of it aggravates me. It's kind of just like I just don't like it. So I put it on the soles of my feet and within 30 seconds it's up and in the body and I can feel it working. So on the feet, when in doubt, on your feet. And I always want to share, like I did last time, an excellent resource that covers how to balance your moon cycle based on your dosha. Is the Healthy, Happy, Sexy Ayurveda Wisdom for Modern Women by Kate Silcox. Phenomenal book. And in there, for example, I tend to have a Vata imbalance. And I started implementing some other things she recommends in there, like the week prior eating 1 tablespoon of aloe in the morning and at night. And that helps ease things. Yeah. So it's just, wherever you can find, whatever works for you, right? But these little tidbits that I found, perhaps they resonate with you. But I really want to stress that it's this idea of you getting to know your body, your menstrual cycle, right? So that you can be empowered to do something about it. And there's a plethora, as you can see, of tools to be used and oils. I'd love to even hear what other people have to say, what they've used for oils, what has worked for them, to share and keep having this conversation, right? I think as women, we need to keep talking about this and supporting each other, right? So that our menstrual cycle is more of a blessing. It's not a curse, right? Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Aleeah. I have learned so much from you in talking about in the preparation for this webinar even, and we've been able to implement some of your tips already in my household with some successes. I have a household with 2 teenage girls, so we have had some success with this already, so I appreciate your knowledge with them, and I really do agree that the more that we can be open and honest with each other and talking about it, as opposed to finding shame around this time of month, the stronger as a society we will be.
Yes. Well, and I think, if you look back, like the Red Tent, if you've ever read the book, it was a time that literally women would come together, they'd eat good food, they'd nourish up, and then, they would prepare for their menstrual cycle. And it's a time, a very sacred time. There's many things why things have shifted and changed, but I think, just continuously having the conversation and be willing to talk about it, because there isn't shame around it. Some of us suffer more than others during the time, but once again, it's skilling up. It's getting a really great tool bag so that you can pull from it. And the other thing is that you have to keep trying. It's just like anything. You have to keep showing up, and you have to keep trying and keep asking questions, because you can't just stop at one answer, right? When it comes to these kinds of things, because things are constantly changing and shifting, right? And then sometimes I fall out of the practice of taking my Chinese herbs, which I didn't talk a lot about here as well, but that's a big part of my toolkit are Chinese herbs. And sometimes I fall out of it, and then I realize, I haven't taken my Chinese herbs in a while, got to get back on that. But it's that ebb and flow, right? And you want to be able to be like, a little bit more liquid about it, but you're also not forgetting about it. You got to keep trying, keep showing up, right?
Well, I just love the wisdom that you always bring to us, Aleeah.
Oh, thank you.
I love listening to you. You're very easy to listen to. So I'm grateful that you are a teacher at heart.
Oh, thank you.
Excited to see you breaking back into your yogic teaching world.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you, Aleeah. I just want to interrupt here for a minute. I took a whole page of notes. I couldn't write fast enough. And
oh, man.
I just really want to thank you also for sharing your story with us, as well as sharing some of your tips. And I can't wait to try some of them.
Cool.
Next week.
Great. As a matter of fact.
Hey.
Yes. Party. Awesome, ladies. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Well, how perfect that we are rolling into this next slide.
I thought about that. I was like, wow.
So we are doing a event the weekend before Thanksgiving. So it's a Saturday, November 18th, down in Lakeville. And this event will actually help to create and prepare some care packages for girls in third world countries that haven't previously been taught about their menstrual cycle. Oftentimes in third world countries, these girls are set to the outskirts of town or left on their bunk to utilize nothing more than a cardboard box to collect their menstrual cycle. And so they're really treated very inhumanely. And so Days for Girls has created this organization that helps to create these reusable feminine hygiene products. And this really touched Glenda and I's heart while we were out in Utah at convention. And we decided that we should have a kit making day here in the suburb of Minneapolis area. So Lakeville, Minnesota, November 18th from 3 to 6, we're going to be getting together. If you can sew and have a machine, awesome. If you can't, we'll have plenty of other things for you to do. So come and enjoy and be a part of an awesome women-driven community that can help to provide these amazing kits for girls in need.
You know I'd be there.
I know you would, honey.
Man, I just love that.
If you're not in the area here,
Mm-hmm.
there are Days for Girls has, what do they call them? Chapters.
Okay.
Throughout the country, actually. So hop onto daysforgirls.org and you can actually find a local chapter that may have a sewing event day in your area.
Great.
That's already pre-designed, and you can just go join them for a day or sign up for more regular activities. So
great. I love it.
And I just want to add a plug, Julie, that we have on Facebook a link to a document for what you're bringing. So the other night I went onto Amazon and I ordered travel size bars of soap and half-gallon Ziploc bags. We keep forgetting to update this slide. Sorry.
Oh, thank you.
And so yeah, those should be arriving soon. So, but if there's things that you can bring, we want to make sure that we have everything we need and not just all of one item. So if you could get on Facebook and pop onto that Google document and update with what you will be bringing with.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. So some of our other upcoming events that we have, next week's webinar, we'll actually be talking more about what doTERRA's Healing Hands Foundation is all about and some of the other tremendous things that we are doing throughout the world. November 10th, I am hosting an Intro to Oils class here at Unwind Within, 7 p.m. Please feel free to come on out, bring some guests if you have anyone that is interested in learning more about oils and wants to take advantage of the intro kit opportunity that we have. That'll be a great day to do so. Our next monthly business meeting is Saturday, November 11th. So coming up this coming weekend, Saturday morning, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. to get you home in time to hang out with your family on a Saturday at the Lunds and Byerly's in St. Louis Park. And then the post-convention tour in Minneapolis, November 14th. I have to say, I was on there just recently. They are technically sold out. However, I have heard from our local doTERRA Diamond that they're not going to be turning anyone away. It may end up being standing room only, but if you haven't gotten your ticket yet and really want to get there, it's going to be an amazing event. Come and learn more about all of the new products from doTERRA Corporate and about some of the awesome things that we are doing as a company. And I think that there are still a couple more post-convention tours throughout the United States here as well. So on your back office, doTERRA.com, under Wellness Advocates, under Events, there will be the list of post-convention tours. So check them out if you haven't had an opportunity to find the one in your area. And I think that's what we have for this week. So thank you guys so much for joining me here on our Wednesday webinar. Thank you again, Aleeah. You are a wealth of knowledge.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And Glenda, as always, love being on here with you, girl.
Right back at you.
All right. We'll see you guys next week. Have a fantastic week.
Bye.
Bye.